Welcome back to the channel. I'm your host Octane, and today we're going to take a look at a few combinations. I'm going to play around with the deck a bit, and we're going to see exactly how we get on with some of the cards that I've got in my collection. So first and foremost, let's take a look at the deck that I've been using for the last 2 hours, and it's not a bad deck. I find it pretty useful. It's a decent deck, and I really love the effect that it's got on somebody else's boss. So for example, if we can find a boss that's worthy of our attention, I'd like to get a boss. Okay, let's go in with 1 key and see if we can get 50% damage on this boss. Now the deck that I'm using first uses 3 beast killer cards. Now Furious Goblin Jockey is a card that requires skill points to actually, before you can actually use its battle skill. Now I've got 50 skill points on the board because I've got 3 cards that generates skill points, and I've got a few ultimate relics on the board. So it's Slayer ultimate relics, and they will basically give me the required skill points that I need to use that card straight off the bat. But if I can actually just get the deck to actually power up on the first turn. Now all my Slayer relics should actually give me 4 gems on the first turn. That won't fill the board, so I just need 2 lines to crush. I'm only getting one column to crush, which is not powering up my deck. And Quiet Ones is a card that requires 2 turns, which is not working out for me at this point. So I have to turn my attention to a boss that hasn't got the attention of everyone. So we're going to turn our attention to a guild boss to demonstrate this particular combination. It's not working out when it comes to attacking somebody else's boss. So there we have it. This one is not going to work very well when it comes to attacking somebody else's bosses. Now this one is the one that I was speaking about, the Quiet Ones, and it applies Twisted Silence and create 2 Earth Power Gem each time this hero attack. That's what we want to activate first. So we pass that on to 3 Slayer heroes. They're gonna attack. It's gonna give me some Power Gems on the board. Then I'm gonna activate the battle skills of all the other cards. Now, as I was saying, Furious Goblin Jockey will only be able to do an attack. Basically its battle skill will only be able to activate if you've got over 25 skill points on the board. So there we have it, 37, 27, 18, 12, and I think that was 37. Didn't catch what Hard-Won Gorillas actually dealt. And that's the damage that it dealt. So you can see the boss had 305 billion, and we actually dealt over 131 trillion damage with that combination. So that combination will give you a good bang for your buck, not a massive bang for your buck, but it will do quite a bit of damage thanks to Protectors of Prosperity. It's a really good utility card, as I said, alongside the ultra rare. Now we're gonna look for our second combination, and this is the combination that I've been using for the last 2 hours. And what we're gonna do, we're gonna use 1 key, and we're gonna see if we can manage to either steal the MVP or do 50%. Hopefully we can pop all the battle skills on the first turn. Now this one uses the Jailers, it uses Defiant Duet. Those 2 cards are 2 commander cards, so they're not gonna be the cards that are gonna deal your damage. That will be down to Hard-Won Gorillas, United Taurus, and Protectors of Prosperity. Now let's see the damage. So 71, 33, 11. Hard One Gorillas gave us 71 trillion. Now if the nuke went off, it would have given us over 350 trillion damage. So that's quite a massive bang for your buck using just one card, not counting United Taurus's damage or Protectors of Prosperity's damage. Now let's see the total damage that we dealt, which is not bad for one key. Actually really good for one key, minus the nuke damage. So what I'm trying to do, I'm trying to get my bosses up to the highest level and get my okay, so that one is dead, and get my prestige up to its maximum, which is level 6. So let's see if we can find another prestige boss. Here's another prestige boss, so we're gonna jump right in. Okay, so it just went right in. I wanted to actually change my deck, but I didn't get the opportunity to change the deck. So the activation sequence for this deck is from right to left. Always remember to activate Defiant's Do It battle skill before you activate the Jailer's battle skill. It does benefit from the turn delay that comes from the Jailers, so you don't want to activate it after the Jailers. United Taurus destroys all non-Earth gems on the board. It produces 1 Earth Power Gem 4 for every 5 Earth Gem that's on the Earth Power Gem that's on the board. Now, treasure bosses, I'm gonna talk about them a bit later, but they're absolute garbage. When I said absolute rubbish, it is absolute rubbish. But if you're into treasure bosses, by all means, it's your choice. If you want to spend 1,000 gem to open a chest where you're not gonna get much from it, it's totally up to you. It's a personal decision, depends on what you want. But personally, I'm not gonna spend my gems on opening treasure boss chests when there's nothing, absolutely nothing in them that's worth what the asking price. If there was something worth the asking price, I would basically open. So this is the next combination, and this one is a non-event deck, and this one basically use Furious Goblin Jockey as the card that's gonna give us the Beast Killer skill. Mine is my Goblin Jockey is at 3 pink stars, so I'm getting 800% damage. However, if it's at 1 pink star, you won't get as much damage, but it is still worth having 400% than nothing at all. So it will work the same way as its previous counterpart, except for the extra attack boost that you get from Defenders of Prosperity. So you can see 83 trillion, which is not bad. So we're gonna look at the decks in depth, and we're gonna talk a bit more about the decks. So let's go and have a look at the decks. So first up, it's this one, which is my main deck. It uses the Jailers, which I showcased yesterday. United Taurus. United Taurus will destroy all non-Earth gems on the board. It will create 4 Earth Power Gem 4s plus 1 additional Earth Power Gem 4 for every 5 Earth gems that's on the board. So it's not Earth Power Gem, it's actually Earth gems that's on the board. It will cleanse all the buff as well, which is quite good. It will heal for 250% of self recovery. So it's recovery of this card per Earth Gem destroyed. So for every Earth Gem destroyed, it will heal for 250%. It's got a 3 turn cooldown, which is quite good. The current deck has got a 2 turn cooldown. This one, Hard One Gorillas, has got a 2 turn cooldown, which goes pretty well with this one. And it's got a passive recoil. If the enemy casts a debuff, it will create 1 Earth Power Gem 4. This can be triggered once per turn. Quite nice card Really like the card. Didn't get it in its event, but I managed to get it during the course of this year. Jailers needs no introduction. Wish I could take that one up to probably 6 pink star. Protectors of Prosperity is the current event deck. I showcased it yesterday. It increases all Slayer attack by 200%. That's normally after you've used ambush. You will only get 200%, which is not too bad. 2200 is much better. And when you're ambushing, it will create 5 Earth Power Gem 6s, and it will increase your Slayer attack by 2000% instead. So I saw instead yesterday and thought that basically you'll only get 2000 instead of 200, but it's actually in the news link, it actually says 2200, so it is 2200. Ambushing, we know what ambushing is. The first time you activate your EU's battle skill, it will do something additional, so it will have an additional effect. The additional effect is that increase the attack boost from 200 to 2200. Passive is Immortality. Once per battle, instead of dying, you revive and it resets ambush. Blessing and Prosperity, once per turn, when an attack or damage buff is activated, it will heal you for 2500%, which is not a lot of heal, but you've got heal coming from Protectors of Prosperity, and you've got heal coming from United Taurus and Hard One Gorillas. Really don't think I need to go through this again, but I will do so for those of you who are quite new to the channel or quite new to the game. So it will create 2 Earth Power Gem 4s, 3 Earth Power Gem 2s. It receives a bonus attack buff for 1 turn. While this is active, the hero will strike an additional time on your next turn, dealing exactly 100% of the main damage. This, as I said, is time 5 if you use free keys. 2 turn cooldown, 6 gem charge rate. The passive as well, Skyborn Blow. Every 4 turn, it creates 2 Earth Power Gem 2s and it dispels 1 buff from the enemy. Works quite well some of the time when you've got a boss that's got a nasty buff. Defiant Duet. Defiant Duet is a card that will create 4 Earth Power Gem 4s and 3 Earth Power Gem 2s. It will add something called a Swarm Buff. Swarm Buff is a status that delay whenever battle skill that delays the enemy turn is cast, it will create 2 Earth Power Gem 4s each time. Okay, it's got a 5 turn cooldown, just like the Jailers, which got a 6 turn cooldown. And that is that combination. This one is using some crazy relics. I'm using mostly arcane relics. I could switch those out and use say Earthslayer relics. However, using Earthslayer relics, because they create Earth gems based on the amount of Slayer heroes that's on the board, I'm only gonna get 3 per relic, so that's the reason why I'm using these relic. Because this one, it doesn't matter how many Slayer Arcane killer that's on the board, you're always gonna get 4. It's like the relics of old. Once you've meet the criteria, they will always give you 5 Earth gems on the board. Okay, so let's move on to the next combination. This was the non-event deck. You can use Furious Goblin Jockey if you've got Furious Goblin Jockey, or you can use the Unquiet Ones. It doesn't matter which one you've got. It doesn't matter how much pink, well, it matters a bit how many pink star you've got, 'cause the more pink star you've got, the more damage bonus you've got. But if you've got 1 pink star, it's okay because you've got 400% damage. 400% is better than nothing. I'll take 400% over nothing any day. Hard One Gorillas, as I said, this card alongside Freedom Fighters, they're two unique cards within the game. There's no other cards like those 2 cards. There are other counterparts that came after, which is the light, the water, and the fire, is not as brilliant as these two cards. If you haven't got it and you do get the opportunity to get it, please get this card. Or if you got the opportunity to get its counterpart, which is Freedom Fighters, do try and get it. They're brilliant utility cards. Flourishing Fairies. Now, Flourishing Fairies is primarily on this combination because it's an arcane killer card. It upgrades 6 Earth Power Gems to 1 level higher. Then it creates 4 Earth Power Gem freeze. Then it increases Arcane Killer's attack for 1 turn by 30% per Power Gem skill that's triggered. So you're getting an extra boost to Hardborn Gorilla from this one. Yeah. At the start of each turn, it creates 1 Earth Power Gem 1 plus 1 more per 100 Arcane Killer intensity. Whenever a Power Gem skill triggers, it heals for 200% of your recovery. So it's doing quite a bit. But the thing that I like most about it is that it gives you quite a bit of Power Gems on the board, especially if it's a long drawn out fight. You do start create far more Power Gems with its passive. It does give you a bit extra damage. It's not a lot, but every little helps. And yeah, it's one of my main Power Gem producers. The Jailers, again, Defiant do it again. So the only difference between this one is that it hasn't got on the current ultimate form. And this one I'm using mostly Earthslayer relics because I've got I've only got 3 Earthslayers on the board really, but I decided that I'll use this one. This combination, it's got 2 cards that's gonna give me the killer bonus. It's got Furious Goblin Jockey. I think it's got 3 cards really. Yeah, it's actually got 3 cards. So this one's gonna give me 400% killer bonus. Unquiet Ones. Unquiet Ones applies something called Twisted Silence to 3 Earthslayer heroes. Twisted Silence will create 2 Earth Power Gems, 2 Earth Power Gem 4s each time that hero attacks. It lasts for 1 turn. This has got a 4 turn cooldown. The passive is Twisted Silence, so it does create 2 Earth Power Gems. So the card itself creates 2 Earth Power Gems, and it passes the passive on to 3 other heroes that will create 2 each when they attack. If there are 8 or more Earth Power Gems on the board, it increases Slayer hero attack by for 1 turn by 30%, and it starts at 7.5%. So you do get a bit of boost, attack boost from this card, which is not much. It was quite a bit back in the day, but now it's not much. So this one, so Punjari Rashmi, and this one is the ultra rare. It increases Slayer attack by 200% for 2 turns. When ambushing, increases Earth Slayer attack by 2000% instead. That would be 2200% as I said. 2 turn cooldown, 9 gem charge rate. It's got ambushing and it's got Blessing of Prosperity. Once per turn, an attack when an attack or damage buff is active, it will heal for 2500% of your recovery. So that will give you a bit of boost as well. This one, Protective of Prosperity, does the same thing as the ultra rare, but it's got Immortality, Elixir of Immortality, which is a revive. Furious Goblin Jockey, we've spoken about this already. It creates 6 Earth Power Gem 2s. It places an Earth Power Gem 4 trap on the board for 1 turn, and if you're hit by the enemy, it will create 3 Earth Power Gem 4s. We're not gonna wait to be hit. We're gonna just satisfy with our 6 Earth Power Gem 2s. That's fine. Hardborn Gorillas, main damage dealer, brilliant. So those are 3 of the combinations that I came up with. There could be far more combinations out there, but I'm just gonna focus on these 3 combinations. Of the 3 combination that I've showcased, this one I think is quite powerful. I think it's far more powerful than the rest. This one is the second most powerful of the 3. And this one, because you have to activate the Unquiet One's battle skill, then do an attack, and then activate the rest of your cards, it's got an Achilles heel, and the Achilles heel is too much turns. If you haven't powered up all the cards on the first turn, you'll have to swap the gems, pop all your battle skill, then you'll have to activate its battle skill, do an attack, and then you activate all the cards, and then you can do your damage. That's 3 turns. Most people will have 1 turn deck or 2 turn deck, so they'll probably take the boss out before you can actually get to do your main attack. So this one, I would say leave it out unless it's the only card that you've got that is a beast killer. And if you've got cards on the board that's going to produce enough power gems, you can just activate those cards, leave that one out, and do your damage. Whichever one you've got, use what you've got to get what you want. That's what I said. So those are the 3 combinations that I'm going to showcase today. Hopefully information helps you out. And I've got 1 subscriber who speaks Spanish, and what I'll say to that subscriber is I'm gonna try and get some video out which is Spanish. However, my daughter Jay will have to translate because she's a Spanish speaker. Spanish is her second language. So yep, I'm gonna try and do some Spanish videos for my Spanish audience, and probably sometime next year I'll get her to interpret some of my videos into Korean as well, because she does speak Korean. She actually speaks 4 languages, which is quite impressive for me anyway, because I hardly speak the language that I'm meant to speak, which is English, quite well. Alright, so that's it from me today, guys. Hopefully you like the video and it's been interesting or helpful. Whatever it's been for you, leave a like on the video. Subscribe for those of you who haven't subscribed. Share the video, and I'll see you on the next video. Thanks for watching. Enjoy the event. Bye for now.